And we are back. Pokemon Infinite Fusion, Hardcore Nuzlocke, the run continues. We've beaten Giovanni, meaning we have 8 gym badges, so it's time to make it to the Elite Four. But first, the rival comes down once again with his Nizhidot. We respond with our Vileplume here, Grass Water typing. That's the Poison Flying as the stab wing attack comes in. It is super effective. We respond with a super effective Psychic of our own, leaving Nizhidot about 1 HP here, thinking that our rival was going to heal. Nizhidot takes it upon himself instead and uses the Roost, so we cheese a Giga Drain, getting a tiny bit of health back. That wasn't the smartest call there, but we absolutely take it as we have a lot of healthy options in the back here. And I do believe we're going to swap into Archibald here, our Arcanine and Gramble with the Intimidate. The Earth Power comes down and we get predicted once again. That is the second time in this run the Earth Power has been used against a not very effective Pokemon, and we pay the price for it. Unbelievable reads by the opponent here. The Roost comes down and Nizhidot is back to full HP. This Pokemon is the bane of my existence as we drop back with a Stab Flamethrower, getting our Charge in there, our starter from the very beginning. We drop back with another Flamethrower, gets the burn. The Thrash comes down, but it's 50% HP, and we get the Fade Away with the burn. Beautiful stuff. We finally get rid of that first Pokemon. The Maghorn comes down. Thankfully, it's not the final evolution here in the Rhyhorn and Magmar, so we absolutely take that. We're going to swap into our Dragon Water typing in the Fahrenheit there, so we finally get the Dragonite evolution here with the level 55. Still have the Dragon Water typing, so that means that Surf is going to be super effective, and the Water Gem boost as well. That Pokemon is absolutely drowned. Talkhoot comes down, and that looks like an Execute and a Tauros, so that's probably a normal Psychic, maybe a normal Grass typing. I'm not 100% sure as we drop back with the Crunch, and it is the Psychic typing, as that is super effective, so we get another Crunch in there, and Fahrenheit is doing absolute work. Dragon Tails is here as the Blastoise comes down, so a Blastos Ivysaur. That is not the final evolution. He's still holding out on his Venusaur combination as we get a nice Crunch in there. Skull Bash comes down, charging up for that first turn, getting a nice defense bump as well. So, but we do have a turn to swap out into safety. This is going to be 100 base power. It's going to be physical on top, so we're going to swap into Archibald, getting the Intimidate there, trying to hold off on the damage, and it critical hits through the Intimidate. What an absolute mad lad. Another Pokemon drops, and we send in Vileplume, trying to remember the broken, trying to heal from that mistake that we just made. This is an absolute debacle as it goes for another Skull Bash. Yes, the Giga Drain comes down. This is a Water Grass typing as well, so we have a super effective Pollen Puff, and that's exactly what we do. We drop back, take down the starter, and we have to avenge the Gramble combination as the Electados comes down. Now, we do have Water Absorb, which could be good against that Hydro Pump. We've gotten into this situation before, so maybe that's what we do. Send out the Fire type, cheese the Hydro Pump, and then heal off of it. We could also get Lenape in there, who's an absolute offensive monster, given the Infernape and... Oh, there is the Hydro Pump. We do dodge, given the Infernape and Lantern combination. We do have Earthquake as well for that electric typing, as Electados is water ground and it almost one-shots. Gets a little bit greedy for the Dragon Dance. Do we still outspeed? We do not. The Screech comes down, and that is no problem, as a second Earthquake will do the trick, and the Gyarados combination falls down. One final Pokemon in the Starkazam here, and we might outspeed given that level advantage. I'm willing to say that we do. We do not, but thankfully our rival gets greedy for a Calm Mind buff, thankfully, and we drop him to about 1 HP, and we are flirting with losing 2 Pokemon in this fight. I cannot believe Archibald went down. That critical hit Skull Bash out of nowhere as we swap into our Tentadra, as the Trick comes down, doing absolutely nothing as the game tries to catch up with this fight, and we can just drop back with a Surf. I mean, anything can kill at this range. Another Trick comes down. Starkazam absolutely trolling as he goes down. We fade away with the Dragon Pulse and take the win, but with a casualty. Next on the menu is going to be our Route 26 first encounter. It's going to be the Fire-type Ponyta. Drop back with the Pokeball and secure it. And then for our Toho Falls encounter, it's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. The Goldeen comes down, secure it with the Pokeball, and let's rejoice. For our Route 27 first encounter, it's going to be the Sandslash here. Not the greatest Pokemon as the game gets further and further into the run, but we'll take another encounter. We'll see what we can fuse it with, secure it with the Pokeball. On our way to victory road here against these Ace Trainers, we see one of the coolest fusions so far in the Houndoom and Ninetales combination. 2 Surfs will do the trick, but my goodness, that Ace Trainer knows what they're doing. For the final first encounter of the run, it is going to be the Marowak found in Victory Road. Drop back one last time and secure it with the Pokeball. So we have done it. We have made it through Victory Road. No silly business. We didn't die to any random trainers. We played it really smart, really safe. On top of that, there is a move tutor right before the Elite Four here, so you can really maximize your move sets with all of your Pokemon. So I'm going to take a second, get a really nice final 6 here. And on top of that, I just found an egg from one island that we just put in the PC and never hatched. So let's go ahead and hatch that and see what that gives us as well. And that egg ends up being none other than the Pawniard. So we get a really sick dark steel typing that we can potentially fuse with one of our other Pokemon. And that is exactly what we do. We take our Rapidash and we take our Pawniard that we had in the PC, we put them together, and we get the Bidash, we get the Bisharp Rapidash combination, and that looks pretty sick. We then experiment with a couple other fusions that we had in the PC just for fun, and we took Golduck and Seaking, and that, my friends, is an abomination that we won't talk about anymore. The only other combination we basically had left on the table was going to be that Sandshrew and Marowak combination. We upgrade to the Sandslash and it turns into Marrowslash. So it looks really cool. It's the ground typing, but it's really slow. So I don't think it's ready for the Elite Four. So let's go ahead and reveal the final 6 that we choose. And for our final team here, we have some familiar faces, as I've really stuck to about 4 of these Pokemon throughout the run. We've added a couple additions here at the very end, but we've got our 2 Dragon Water typings in the Tentacruel and Kingdra. We've got the Dragonite Feraligatr as well. We've got Lenape, which is the Infernape and Lantern. We added the Magneton and Hitmonchan for that Fighting Steel, the Lucario typing. We also added that Dark Fire Badash that we just got from that egg, and we finish out the roster with the signature Viletoad, the Shiny Flex Watergrass Pokemon that has done so much work in this run. So let's go ahead and take on Lorelei and see what she is working with. All right, so we are going in blind for the most part. I did look up what Pokemon she has fused with, but I don't know the type combination that she has. So for Magong here, that could be Fire Water, that could be Fire Ice. We know that it's going to be a Magmortar and a Dugong, but we don't know the exact typing, so we're going to have to be a little bit cautious there. The Bubble Beam comes down, we tank that, no problem. It's 4 times, not very effective, and all we're doing here is we're going to get the Yawn setup, and we're going to get Lenape in there, given that busted speed stat, phenomenal attack and special attack. So really, it's a dual sweeper. She can do whatever she likes, as the leftover recovery is huge. On top of that flamethrower pivot, the Swords Dance comes down. We are +2 with a great speed stat with leftovers recovery. We are looking fantastic as Magong sleeps on the job here. We are +4. We are good to go, and we go in for the Earthquake. It's not stab, but it is super effective. So we do know Magong is probably Ice Fire then in that regard. Or if it's Fire Water, it's still super effective. It doesn't matter. It's gone. And now Gene Growth is here, which could be Ice Grass, given the Jinx Tangrowth combination. It could be Psychic Grass. It could be Psychic Ice. It could be any of those, but that doesn't matter because Close Combat is super effective, meaning it doesn't have the Psychic typing, and it is deleted into next year as Mambro comes down. And can we one-shot this? We do have a -1 on the defensive side because of that Close Combat backfiring in that regard, but that is so much damage. This should kill, as Mambro is probably going to be an amalgamation of Psychic Ground or, oh my gosh, so it is Psychic because it eats that no problem, but it goes for a takedown and not a super effective Earthquake, which is absolutely massive. So the Slowbro and Mamoswine is huge, fantastic defense, but the full restore comes down, keeping it healthy. It doesn't matter though, as we keep firing off these Earthquakes, and the leftovers doing work, getting us back to almost full HP. Really nice stuff here. Lenape is carrying the squad as the Tentastar comes down. That's going to be a Tentacruel Cloyster combination, maybe a Poison Ice, maybe a Poison Water. Does it matter? Because the Earthquake comes in. Can it hold on? And yes, it can. So it actually drops the poison typing. It is not super effective, but another Earthquake will do the trick, and all it got off was spikes. So living up to the Cloyster name there, the Calm Mind is here, but we are leaning into that physical sweep with the Close Combat Swords Dance combination, as well as the Earthquake coverage, which is really nice. So Lenape, level 58, coming in hot. Weirus comes down, the Ace. Weavile Lapras, you gotta love it, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be Dark Ice, and it doesn't matter as we one-shot fade away and Lorelei is defeated. All right, time for Bruno, the second member of the Elite Four. I feel like we have found our strategy here and just get the Yawn set up and then swap into Lenape and just pop off as the Mawire comes down, being the Machamp Electivire. So probably fighting Electric as a monstrous stab. Thunder Punch comes down onto the Tentadra and we get her to safety. We send in Lenape, who does have Volt Absorb, so that does absolutely no damage. The discharge just completely ricochets off. We get a nice Swords Dance as well, but the Full Restore comes down, waking up the Machamp Evolution, or Fusion, I should say, as the Cross Chop does massive damage and we were absolutely dead to a crit. However, we are +6 now and we can absolutely one-shot with an Earthquake, and that is exactly what happens. The Lenape holds on, takes down the Machamp, but we are in a tipsy situation as Marochan comes down, probably a fighting ground typing, but given max attack, I think we kill, and I don't think Marochan has Sturdy or Levitate, so I think we get the green light here, and Lenape, please drop back and pop off, sir. Or I should say, man, as Lenape is a female, we are hovering. We don't want to lose our pride and joy, but we actually go for a close combat just for that added damage. We do lose the special defense and physical defense, but we get a little bit of reprieve from the leftovers, and the Magnetics, the Magnezone and Onyx comes down, which I am pretty confident that this one does have Sturdy, as both Magnezone and Onyx usually have Sturdy. So we got to respect them holding on with 1 HP, but can they do anything? Do they have Earthquake? Do they have anything that could actually take out Lenape? Do we get rid of the +6 that we've put so many resources in, or do we just roll it and dare the Magnets to do something? Instead, we play it safe and go for the Vileplume, and all it did was go for the Magnet Rise, so we are in prime position here, and the lock-on comes down, so this Magnus is not a threat at all. Another Full Restore, and I do believe Bruno is out of Full Restores as the Surf brings Magnus into the red. We drop back with another Stab Surf, and it is enough. He falls, and that is 2 or 3 Pokemon down. That brings us to the Cross, the Scizor Cross, the Heracross Scizor combination. Thank you. And that is going to be probably a Fighting Steel combination, maybe a Bug Fighting. It could be either of those, but it's going to hit really hard. So we're afraid of that Stab Bug move. So we swap into Fahrenheit as the Swords Dance comes down, and that is absolutely terrifying. But I think we can get some really nice damage down with potentially a Surf. Earthquake could be neutral given the Steel Bug. I think we just go Stab Surf as the close combat comes down, and it absolutely one-shots our Dragonite for Alligator combination. This is really bad. So it is -1 defense, -1 special defense, but it's +2 attack and can literally one-shot anyone with close combat. We have nothing that resists fighting. I repeat, we have nothing that resists fighting, as that's going to be a water Dragon type. We've got a Dark Fire. That does not, that's super effective. So we're going straight in for Lenape and hoping we can outspeed and one-shot with our own close combat. I think that's the best play here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So all or nothing. We do have a massive attack stat, but we actually get outsped? The Infernape gets outsped by the Sicross? What are you telling me? Heracross isn't fast. Scizor's okay, but look at that, 127 speed. In what world? In what world does Lenape get outsped? Oh my god, this is it. This is over. We get absolutely swept. All Bruno has to do is click close combat unless he completely fumbles the bag here, and we just send in our Dark Horse Vileplume, who can't do anything. We go for the Psychic, the X-Scissor comes down, and that's stab super effective, and we are gone. It might not even be stab, because it might be Fighting Steel, but it doesn't matter. If it outspeeds an Infernape, it outspeeds everything, and Badash looks like an absolute stud buffin, but gets absolutely one-shot by a stab close combat, and this is the game. This is the game coming to an end. We make it all the way to the second Elite Four member and get absolutely pimp-slapped by Bruno and his Skicross here. This Heracross Scizor combination. The Tentadra comes down and is waving the white flag, is begging for mercy, but it doesn't matter as Bruno takes no prisoners, and Tentadra is going to be the final one to fall. The X-Scissor comes down and we lose everything. Okay, so I guess attempt number 3 is coming to you live real soon. But for now, as always, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you on the flip. Peace.